Hey, so you want me to explain the serpent in the book of Genesis and lifting up the serpent in Numbers? Do I really think that it was Satan? Well, I spoke about Genesis in my last video about this. So in this one, this is the second video where I'm touching on Numbers 21. No, this has nothing to do with Satan in terms of the serpent. Serpents are used throughout Scripture, and in this case, it's not acting as an adversary to God's plan or God's will, which is really what the title of Satan really is an adversary. A huge point I want to make in Numbers 21 is what happens with Moses right before this. Moses is dealing with this crabby crowd that's complaining about literally everyone and everything. And if you remember, in my last video and several others, I explained the importance of being the image of God, God's representatives, if you will. And Adam failed in being the image of God. And because they didn't listen to God and follow his decree, instead they acted on what they wanted to do and what they made decisions based on what they thought were best. They trusted self, not God. But Moses does the same thing here. It's a little moment, but it's a profound one. And Moses is told by God to speak to a rock and to bring out water for all the people. But Moses, however, doesn't speak as God told him to. Instead, Moses hits the rock twice and yells at the people. So, like Adam, Moses puts himself in God's place. But only here, Moses is acting as the one who brings out the water, but not God. So Moses has the same fate and error as Adam does, being a failed image and failing in his role of being the proper image of God. Like Adam, he dies in the desert and doesn't get to enter the promised land. That leads to the poisonous snakes and the snake being lifted up. The snake is a symbolic representation or an aspect of being lifted up, and the faith of those who look up to the lifted creature will be saved. And that leads to Jesus, the one true image of God, where everyone else fails in being the proper image. Jesus succeeds. Jesus is God in the flesh and became one like us, a creature, fully God, fully human man. And he was lifted up on a pole, a wooden cross. And those that have the faith to fix their eyes on the one who lifted high will be saved. And I think that's the powerful piece there. It's about having faith and acting on the faith that Jesus died for us. In John chapter 3, Jesus says that this bronze serpent was a foreshadowing of him. The serpent, a symbol of sin and judgment, was lifted up from the earth and put on a tree, which was a symbol of the curse. In Galatians chapter 3, it says it. The serpent lifted up and cursed symbolized Jesus, the true image of God, who frees people from the consequences of sin, to everyone who would look to him in faith, just like the Israelites had to do and to look up at the raised symbol in the wilderness. We too can be a true image of God when we bodily resurrect, only because Jesus, who succeeded, resurrected first. He died where he didn't need to, but he rose again, and that is the hope of the gospel. Because Christ rose, we can represent him now, and we too will one day rise again and be the true image of God, representing God as he willed it in Eden. I hope that answers your question. Have a great day.